I even remember talking, well, like when I found out I was having twins, I imagined that they came out at the same time. And I was like, how the fuck do you do that? They take turns.
They're fighting their way out.
The first one paves the way and then the other one flies out. In my experience, anyway. It's like
The first one's the fucking explorer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The second one's
like, fuck yeah.
Second one's like the skeleton, you know, in the Winter Olympics. The luge. Which one goes head first?
Yeah, the skeleton, yeah.
Yeah, anyway.
Hi, I'm Buster Kirby. We are back in the kitchen today. I have all the way from Mullumbimby on the Northern Rivers, where we pretty much are in Wollongbar. I have professional comedian Ellen Briggs. And normally when people come in, I say, come in my back door. I better not say that today.
It'd be kind of hard for me.
That's what I thought.
Let's be honest.
I did say come in my back door. Yeah. How are you?
I'm really well. How are you?
Good.
Good.
And you were wandering. It's a lovely little spot.
Yeah.
Juju's Cafe in Wollongbar. We've taken over his dining room, I guess you could call it.
I know. Beautiful.
And my wife found you wandering the streets.
Well, I was heading up the alley to go and, shoot up with the locals. She caught me.
Yeah, there was a knock on the door, and I saw my wife come back. I thought, well, I've forgotten something or something. And you're sitting there, and you said, yeah, you were going up the alleyway where she found you, and you like a burger.
I do. I love a burger.
Well, today's the chicken burger, so just a
So you
simple...
chose chicken for me?
I chose
you chose it.
I chose this.
Why did you choose chicken?
I just didn't see you as the big, greasy, beefy hamburger lady. Are you a big, greasy hamburger?
Sometimes.
Okay.
Sometimes, but I do love a chicken burger.
Well, this is going to be chicken, pineapple, bit of bacon, my homemade sauce. That's about it. We'll probably smoke the joint completely out, but we'll have a bit of fun.
Great.
So, what's your story? So you're from Mullum?
I'm from Mullum now.
Yep.
I've been in Mullum almost 30 years now.
Wow.
So I guess they might start calling me a local soon.
Well, I don't know, because I'm a sixth generation from here, and I'm a local. But there was a thing in the paper a few years ago. A man died in his 90s, right? And I remember the old Daily News when there was a paper before Rupert made it go.
Yeah.
Everyone used to get the paper. The obituaries, and it had lived in Wollongbar for 80 years, although not a local.
Oh.
Loved as a local. So this guy was in his, I can't remember his name, but the guy was in his 90s, right? The guy was in his 90s and still wasn't regarded as a local in Wollongbar because he wasn't born, he was born in St. George. I remember all of this and just going, oh my God.
I know. I kind of hate that. There's a little bit of that in Mullum where it's that, well, you're not a local, so you can't say. And, arguably people like myself, I mean, I'm really going to piss in my own pocket here, but people like myself and say Mandy, who's been in the area for the same amount of time as me, we've probably done more than some of those angry fucking locals.
Guarantee
you know what I mean?
Done more than that. Yeah, you're totally in the same. I get a little bit toey here. At the city folk who move to our village and want to change everything.
Yeah, sure.
But I'm a big fan if you move to the area and you slip into the area and you buy a cafe. Like these guys aren't from their locals. They bought a cafe, built a business, and they become part of the routine of the town. And obviously you've done that.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've been there 30 years. So you've come up here in your early 20s.
Yep.
From
Canberra. Born and bred Canberra girl.
Cold Canberra.
Yeah.
I've never been to Canberra.
Have you not? It's a really great city.
I don't go if I can't see Mount Warning. I've said it before.
I'm not kidding?
I've been to Melbourne once. I'm 42 in October. I've been to Melbourne once. No.
That's amazing.
I've been to Sydney maybe 4 times, and everything else is on the North Coast.
That's amazing.
Yeah, if I do go, and this is really funny.
Have you been to Brisbane?
Once or twice. Yeah, no, so I go to Brisbane a fair bit for comedy through the week and stuff. But if I go to somewhere, I'll have a photo of the mountain on my phone. And when I get this anxious sort of feeling, I'll reach for my phone. I go, oh, the mountain. So that's my fucking mountain.
I do that, but it's a photo of John Mayer.
So that's my coping mechanism.
So I can go anywhere.
I've got grand ambitions to go overseas and do all these sort of things, but I just haven't been. Like I said, I've literally been to Melbourne once.
Wow, that's amazing.
Went to Stanthorpe once. Went all the way to Stanthorpe. Other than that,
big day.
I'm pretty. That was a 2-day trip. That one. I had to have a nap. It was a fair drive out there. But I'm not very well travelled.
Okay. Yeah.
And then my friends will go over. I've got a friend in America at the moment, and he sent a few pictures, and I said, oh, when you're in Vegas, make sure you go to the gun thing, and make sure you do this. And he goes, oh, how many times have you been here? I went, I've never been there, mate. I just watch a lot of TV.
YouTube.
I'm a big fan of Vegas, but I don't know what the fuck to do.
Yeah,
I just
right.
know what I would do if I was there.
I've only travelled a lot because of my husband's job that,
Okay, what was
that
it?
he had. He was a mechanic for MotoGP.
Oh, wow.
So he started with Mick Doohan.
I know Mick
He was
Doohan.
with 5 years with Mick Doohan, and then he was like 24 years with Valentino Rossi.
Holy shit. So you did that stuff?
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, so
You saw the world for free.
well, I wouldn't say free, but yes, because you saw places where there were racetracks, but then we'd have our own little holidays. We lived in Europe for 12 months.
Oh, wow.
When our kids, so we had twins,
Yep.
and when our kids were 2, we thought that we would try living over there because he was missing out on a lot of
Yeah, it'd be hard.
time with them, but it was actually much harder for me because
You're
we
away from-
lived in Belgium,
Oh.
and I couldn't speak Flemish. I can hardly speak English, right?
What does Belgium speak? Flemish.
Well, it's half Flemish, half French. So
Okay.
Flemish is a form of Dutch,
Oh.
and we were in the Flemish part, in a really old part, beautiful.
Yeah.
But I couldn't speak the language, and not many people there spoke English because we were in quite a small
And you've
town.
got twins.
I
and you're away
had
from
2-year-old
support?
twins, yeah.
You're away
So it
from-
was much harder for me because he'd go off to a race for 5 days and I would be there on my own,
Yeah.
trying to tell someone in the chemist that my hemorrhoids had flared up
yeah.
in Flemish,
Yeah, you got
drawing pictures.
you got a bunch of grapes and a photo of a bum. Yeah. It's like, fix this. This goes back in. Yeah. So, yeah, that
And
would
then
be
I'd go through all that and the pharmacist would go, I speak English.
You're like, you fucker. He goes, I'll get this bitch. Yeah. Okay, so you've toured the world with the MotoGP team. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. And then you come back to Australia. You raised twin boys.
Yep.
How old are they now?
They're 21.
Okay, so you got 21. How does that go?
They're
21-year-old
rippers.
twin boys.
Oh, they're great.
Good kids.
So one of them lives down in Melbourne. He looks like Chopper Read. He has like a giant moustache. He's got the tats all over him, shaved head, and
Awesome.
he's a florist.
Oh, that's unreal.
I know,
Really?
he's adorable. Drinks VB, sends me photos of his
He's
house all the time.
Like Aussie knocker bloke. Then he's in there chipping
well,
his...
he's right into hardcore music. He's an amazing street artist. So
Straight edge?
he,
Is that what it's called?
no, he's not straight
'cause he
edge.
drinks.
He drinks.
Yep, yep.
He actually told me a funny story because he's working in like a florist sort of warehouse thing, and he said the boss said to him, look, this is after about a week. He goes, look, I'm pretty sure I've got you right. You're not gay. And Jared goes, no, I'm not. And he goes, because every other guy that works here is gay.
It's a stereotype, isn't it?
Is that
Gay florist.
going to be an issue for you? And Jared goes, well, I'm just coming here to work.
Yeah, I'm not here for a root.
And that's the different generation, right? Because he just couldn't care less. He's just like, who cares? I don't care. I'm just working with them. They're good guys.
Have you seen the two blokes behind the cameras?
Yeah, no, he's
Millennial tight pants. Like in my
Yeah.
real life, I wouldn't speak to them. But they're fine.
Yeah.
It's
So
about
that's-
us understanding, isn't it?
Yeah. So that's one. And then the other one is he's in his last year of apprentice spray painting. He's fully sick. He's got the fucking hoarded up car, and I was in the car with him the other day actually, and he goes, once I was coming around this roundabout and I ended up facing the traffic, and I just went, can you not tell me
Stop telling me
that shit?"
I'm your mother.
Yeah.
Stop telling me. I don't want to hear about you doing
He's
that.
having a good memory about that night he nearly died.
Fuck. So he's around here, Mullum.
He still lives with us. He lives on our property in like a shed,
Ah, well, that's the dream.
an
isn't
illegal dwelling.
it? Yeah. That's in the Byron side. That's the least of their worries.
Yeah.
You fucking potholes you can die in,
Yeah.
let alone fucking someone building a shed in their backyard.
Exactly.
All
Yeah,
right.
so we've been lucky. We've been really lucky with our kids. They've not given us really any grief at all.
Yeah, it's a bit like me with my parents.
Yeah, mine.
All right, so you know why you're here. We're
Yeah.
here for the burger. We're here for a
Yeah.
yarn. We're here about. You're a professional comedian. I'm
Yeah.
a budding comedian. I
Yep.
suppose you could call it crash burning comedian. You've done some big gigs with some of the biggest comedians in Australia.
Yep.
But what prompted you to go down that road?
I never ever really even wanted to do comedy.
Okay.
I did Mandy Nolan's. Well, so I was writing a book. After I had the boys, I realised like I had to get pregnancy books back in those days, there wasn't much information on the internet.
Yeah.
Right. I don't even know if the fucking internet was around then. Anyway, I can't remember sitting on the computer. I don't think it was.
21 years ago, probably not.
And so we had to order these books, like from America about twins, because they love a twin in America. So
Yeah, so they're mad for a twin.
mad for a twin. They have festivals.
You've got no fucking idea. What do you do?
I even remember talking, like when I found out I was having twins, I imagined that they came out at the same time. And I was like, how the fuck do you do that? They take turns. They're
fighting their way out.
The first one paves the way and then the other one flies out. In my experience, anyway. It's like,
the first one's the fucking explorer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The second one's
like, fuck yeah.
Second one's like the skeleton, in the Winter Olympics, the luge. Which one goes head first?
Yeah,
Skeleton.
the skeleton. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so I went, this is crazy. We need to have a book here. Not that I'm not in the medical profession, but just from a personal point of view. And so the kids were about 4, and I started writing this book, and it just sort of started getting funnier and funnier. And there was nothing around like any writing sort of courses, but Mandy's course was on.
Yeah.
So this is about probably 17 years ago.
Yeah, so she's been going a long time.
Long time, yeah.
Sort of
and I contacted her and said, would it help? And she said, yeah, it would help, because if there's funny parts in it, we can make those funnier. She said, but you will have to do stand-up at the end of it. And I remember that phone call and going, as if I'm going to do that.
Well, fuck off, I don't want to do that.
And she's a giant bully, right?
Yes.
And basically bullied me into it. And when I did it, I did that 5 minutes and I was like, wow, this is fun.
The actual euphoric feeling of like, holy fuck, I'm getting people.
And look,
laughing.
I never had that fear of being in front of people, because in my previous life I was like a corporate trainer and a staff trainer and stuff, so I didn't have that. And I guess I would always try and bring humour into that a little bit as well.
Yep.
So she just sort of said to me, look, you've kind of got what it takes, you should keep doing it. And I think maybe my 4th time on stage was the Raw Heat, and I won that.
Oh, so you've won Raw. So Raw is basically the Melbourne Comedy Festival has an amateur thing. We just had a local girl, Alexander Hudson's just won. She was one of Mandy's people, one of our friends.
Yeah.
And so you've done it. So you won the Heat in Byron.
I went down to Melbourne.
I come second twice.
Yeah, right.
In fucking Byron. I'm not doing it again.
Yeah. So I won in Byron, went to Brisbane, won in Brisbane, and then got
so
down
you did
to
the
Melbourne.
final.
Yeah.
Unreal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this is someone who never wanted to do comedy. You've only done 4
No,
before.
and so for a long time I was just like, well, we'll just see what happens, I never told anyone I was doing it. I just would go along and have a bit of fun and
I was a bit like that at the start.
Right,
I didn't tell many people. For the first 12 months, I didn't tell anyone I was doing comedy.
Yeah.
And then someone said to me one day, I saw a poster of you in Byron. And I went, yeah, that's me. Are you Buster now? And I went, yeah, I'm Buster.
Yeah.
And they're like, fuck.
Yeah.
And, yeah, okay. So you so you kept going.
And so, look,
you didn't win Raw?
No, I didn't win.
Okay.
But it just kept moving from there, and then you build up a bit more material, and before you know it, you're doing a 20-minute spot. And it just went from there. And now professional comedian. I've probably been actually making, a living out of it for the last 10 years, I guess.
That's unreal. And obviously you developed a friendship with Mandy.
Yeah.
You fair to say you're very close friends.
Yeah.
You went on tour together. We won't go too far into that, but you did a lot of touring together.
Yeah.
You had your show,
Women Like Us.
Women Like Us, which I have now seen, which is it's fucking fantastic, and people just rave it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's probably one of the best things going. I really liked it. So I said to you, we both, I did a gig with you not too long ago for Jonathan Atherton, and I said to you I hadn't seen it, and I made sure I went and got one, and I watched it. And I went,
right.
Fuck, I need to get...
So we have pretty much did almost 400 shows.
Did you really?
Yeah, toured all around
Australia-wide?
Yeah. Yeah.
Fuck, 400?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
and
phenomenal.
That's all produced by us. We didn't have an agent. I'm so proud of it. I'm so proud of that show and what we built. We also raised a lot of money in communities.
You did. I followed that.
We did lots
that
of drought relief stuff. Really important getting out into communities like that and bringing a show like that, and for women especially. But dudes love the show as well.
And then
Funny.
Funny. I forgot a fucking knife for the butter. So I'm just doing the worst thing you can do. And I'm putting my back to the crowd. This happens every fucking time I forget something. Yeah, funny's funny.
Yeah.
And I've done a few gigs now in different clubs for different people, and I'm like, do you cater for the audience? no. My advice has been no. Funny's funny. If you're funny in Melbourne, you're going to be funny in Dapto. You're going to be, not that I've been to Dapto.
Look, I think that's a big conversation, because I sometimes do things like sportsman's lunches, or I did a men's night up at some private college in Brisbane the other night, and I do cater my material for that. There's stuff that I would do in the Women Like Us show that I wouldn't go into a sportsman's lunch and talk about a twat waxing experience. You know what I mean? I think you kind of ask him for trouble.
Yeah, you don't want to,
really, because you're going to have arseholes in the audience.
Someone to heckle you. There'd be a misogynistic fuckwit who would yell at something out stupid and ruin your fucking night. And that's... So those sorts of things you just have to go in. And in a Women Like Us show, you can be a bit more... I'm a storyteller comedian, as you know, and so you can be a bit more kind of fluid with what you're doing, and you can take your time. Whereas for as a woman going into that environment, you can't give them a chance. So it has to be you're laughing the whole time. They don't get a chance, and then they just go, "What the fuck happened? She was hilarious." And they don't know what you spoke about at the end.
Yeah.
They just go home. Billy Connolly says it.
Yeah.
They go home and they go, "I just went and saw Billy Connolly, the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life." And they go, "What did he do?" They go, "I don't know."
Yeah.
But I laugh the whole fucking time.
Yeah.
I do stories as well.
Yeah.
So I don't do very well in 5 to 7 minute bits.
Yeah.
But I keep people laughing the whole time. I don't get heckled.
Yeah.
Very rarely do I get heckled, and as you know,
Yeah.
because you don't give them a fucking chance.
Yeah.
And the people that want to come to a show and belittle you and fuck your head, fuck you.
Yeah.
Basically, we're there to make you laugh. No one wants to listen to you. You're a dickhead. All right. So I'll probably get heckled now. but yeah. So you got some other. So we're here for it's sort of a mental health sort of angle that we're pushing on. We're not pushing on it, but I'm basically trying to make. I struggle with anxiety, so I'm trying to make people aware from a country town across Australia, basically through YouTube and podcasting, people how they deal with it, and have they had people in their life who deal with things, and how you've seen them deal with, and if you've got a personal thing or whatever, and then I cook you the burger. We have a bit of a laugh, and if you want to talk about that,
great.
So and we spoke about this earlier. I've got my peppermint. It's made a famous. It's always
peppermint.
It is absolutely peppermint. It sits in my pocket all the time. So my anxious thing is I just sniff this.
And it helps.
I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's like a security.
Almost like a pacifier.
Yeah, it's like a security blanket.
Yeah. So the oil thing. So there's a woman called Taran Brumfitt who, she's this amazing woman who very quickly about her stories. She, the before and after photos when they're doing fitness stuff.
Yep.
She did before and after, but it was backwards. So she used to be a fitness model. And then she went, "What am I doing? I'm spending all this time away from my kids and my husband, and I'm eating crap. I'm starving myself to look like this, and what for?" And so she just completely changed her way of thinking and went, "I'm going to eat to fuel my body, and I'm just going to live my life."
So she was a skinny, fit, petite,
really
ripped.
Almost muscular. She'd do that.
Yep.
She did that modelling, the fitness modelling stuff. And then she's also a photographer, so she took a photo of herself after she stopped training, and by no means fat, but it went worldwide. And of course, men were commenting on there like, "Oh, her poor husband fucking married that, and now he's got this." And yeah. Anyway,
my wife says that about me. Is that a role reversal? My wife, I guarantee you, we've been together now for, we got married, it's tattooed on my fucking arm. We got married in MMV,
right,
which is 05. And I'm sure she looks back now to about 03 and goes, "What the fuck?" I was the ultimate thirst trap, I think, And now she's like, "Jesus." She's married to Peter Griffin. Like, the only thing I don't do is fight a fucking rooster every day. So, yeah, sorry.
Anyway, so she made this documentary about women's body image and how hard it is to kind of live with that. Anyway, I met her because there's a thing called the Channel Country Ladies Weekend, which is up in Channel Country in Queensland, and all these women come together for a weekend. They're women who live on million-acre properties.
Yeah.
And they never get to see other people.
Which
so it's like a festival. They have yoga there, they have a hairdresser come in. It's great. And they take a comedian out. And she came out as the keynote speaker, terrified of flying. So I just met her. We're in that little airport up in Brisbane, and we're going on a little 12-seater.
Yeah.
She's breathing into a bag, just freaking out. And I just said to her, "Hey, look, stick with me." She was even Googling how long it would take her to drive. It would be 2 days.
Fuck.
I said, "You can't drive, right? Come on." So she sat next to me on the plane, and I just kept she was having a proper anxiety attack, and I just kept my hand on her, and I put my headphones in and let her listen to a really gory murder podcast.
About a plane crash.
No, but just about someone being murdered, just to take her mind off it, and just when you call. Then she brings out the oils, and I'm having a little bit of a giggle to myself, like going, okay, if this plane goes down, we're all going to be there in the wreckage, broken to bits, but you, my friend, with your fucking peppermint oil, strolling through the wreckage.
She's saving the day.
My rescue remedy saved the day. So I had a bit of a giggle with her about that. Not at the time. No. I was very kind to her at the time, but later that night on stage, hammered her.
Really? Yeah. Did she laugh at it?
Oh yeah.
I find it like I'm a bloke. I'm fucking like a blokey bloke, and I had something. We're not going to go into it, but I had an incident happened to me in 2016, which changed my whole life, and I didn't think in 2022, like what's that? Fucking 6 years later, I'm still I put a lot of weight on since 16 too. I've got bigger. I don't drink anymore. I fucking sniff peppermint. I meditate.
Yeah, right.
I'm like doing all this shit because of my head. I never would have thought that'd be fucking. And people hammer me. Like I'm the vice president of a local footy club, and I'll be sitting there doing. I'd strap on Sundays. I'd strap the footballers, and I'll be, hang on, mate. I'm sitting there, and they go, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" And a few of the boys know the backstory. They go, "It's crazy." Just fucking let him sniff that shit.
It's kind of shit. It is shit, isn't it? Like on a very serious note, if you had diabetes or if you had something, yeah, you probably do.
Separate tongs too: chicken tongs, bacon tongs.
Good.
And medium rare chicken. Yeah, it is. It's a stigma, and it's.
Nobody would care if you were looking after your health in some other way. They'd go good on you, but yeah.
Yeah, it's like being a fat guy going to the gym. People laugh at you.
Yeah, I've been quite lucky until I hit menopause.
Yes.
Which I hear all the young men in the room falling asleep. Oh, fuck the menopause talk.
One just left.
The other one died.
My soul just went.
Yeah.
No, okay, so
I've developed anxiety.
From menopause?
Yeah.
So
absolutely. I can't. No. I'll rather have anxiety than sniff on peppermint oil.
Fucking anxiety.
Really bad at night when you because I have really bad insomnia, and
you sweat and shit.
All of a sudden, you just get these waves of anxiety, and I'm not good enough, and what's happening in this turning point in my life, all the things.
And you've never had
that
this
go
before?
with it. I've been really, really lucky, actually.
So how do you deal? Okay, so now you're a bit like me, like a totally different story, and I'm not trying to take that, but I've developed anxiety later in life.
Yeah.
You have too, obviously.
Yeah.
And you got menopause going on top of that, and you got you're a stand-up comedian, and a pandemic hit, and the rug was taken.
Yeah.
So comedy stopped.
Yeah.
For you, and you got to realise that too. And now you're dealing, like you're saying, you get nighttime menopause. I don't know when menopause happens, but you're getting nighttime
Normally
anxiety.
About 3:15.
Yeah, on the fucking clock. Here it comes. Fucking hell. So how are you dealing with that now?
I deal with it a few ways. Well, the pandemic was interesting actually, because that, like I was talking about the show, Women Like Us, and I did a lot of the production of that. So I would sort of manage, because Mandy has so many other things going on, I sort of became the manager of that. And so I did all the bookings and all the travel, everything. I do all the BAS statements. I pretty much do everything and book Mandy.
Yeah. And fucking Mandy just turns up and
that process of going through and crossing out gigs that you have put, because that's where all the work is. The part on the stage is a small part, and that's the enjoyable part.
Yep.
Actually getting that gig into the diary is the hard part.
And
so that physical thing of, I understand we have to cancel, and going through a diary and cancelling out months and months of work really did my head in. And so I actually, and I just needed some stability. Like I like to know when things are happening. I'm pretty regimented,
You don't drop shit on me. I'm like that too. I like to know I'm going to be here on Monday, I'm going to be here on Wednesday, I'm going to be here.
Yeah.
And if someone rings me today and says, can you come to Brisbane do a set tonight? I'd go, Wah!
Yeah.
I couldn't do it.
It's just a bit of a form of control. I'm okay with that, but I just like to have things planned out. So I went back, I worked in town planning for a while before I had the kids, and I went back and did that for a couple of days a week, and that actually saved me because it gave me a bit of stability every week, and I felt like I had a purpose again. I think the lack of purpose is not good for anxiety.
Yes.
I use acupuncture. You use your oils. I get acupuncture,
Yep.
and I find it really, really helps.
And you talk? Did you go to a
I just do it myself. Just whack in some needles. Just get my husband out with a hammer.
You can do that in various parts around
Yeah,
town. Here you go to parking and there's
Yeah,
blokes
we
here.
call it acupuncture.
Yeah. There's some places along the riverbank that people would get the needle into you here.
Yeah.
So, and did you go to a shrink? Do you do all that sort of stuff and talk and things like that?
No, I've never been to.
I'm just going to cut this so you don't die.
Yeah,
That's my. Well, you probably won't die, but you might poo
Happy
for
to.
about 2 weeks.
Well,
So I'll just.
that might be all right.
I'll just cut it and make sure that you're all right with that. Look at that.
Look at that.
Ah, no one's dying today.
Moist.
Moist. That's moist as fuck. Look at look how awkward that poor millennial child is.
I know, the young ones.
Oh, lady said moist.
She said moist.
Oh, fuck. Sitting there surrounded by KFC
Which is
buckets.
not a word you say a lot after menopause. And you can look that up.
Fucking hell, that's awesome.
He'll be down the river soon, putting it in his arm. Thinking about that.
I don't know if you can't see.
He's very awkward. He's very uncomfortable.
Put your glasses on,
You
mate.
liked me when I first came in, didn't you?
Now we can't see him. He's put his glasses on now.
Stop, old lady.
We can't see him.
Stop speaking.
I'm terribly sorry.
So yeah, and exercise for me.
Okay.
If I don't exercise, I get much worse.
Okay, so you gym, walk, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But you walk a dog.
Yeah, I do.
You got the Foxy?
Jack Russell.
Jack Russell, yes,
Yeah.
yes. I've heard of.
I tell you what, they're not good for anxiety.
I'll tell you something. I found out the other day I got fucking 2.
2 Jack Russells.
Yeah, and a
Really?
pug.
Oh my god.
Oh mate, fucking Doctor.
No wonder you've got anxiety.
Dr. Doodle. They live. They are the longest living dog in Australia.
Yeah, I know.
That fucker will be
Have
here
you?
forever.
I do a joke on stage
Oh,
about
do you?
it. That when I got the Jack Russell, I was walking out and a lady came up and said, and he was the worst puppy ever. Like seriously, I really love dogs, but I was like, this one's fucked. I'm going to have to rehome him. I even thought about like leaving him at like a servo or something.
I bloody hear
He's
you.
microchipped, so they
bring him
found
back.
his way home. But this woman, she goes, oh, I had a Jack Russell, lived for 18 years, and I vomited on the spot.
Yeah, they're not good for anxiety or depression. I can tell you.
But do you know, now that he's over 2, I think he's amazing for depression because they're the funniest little fuckers
They are.
ever. They actually have a sense of humour.
You could talk to them.
I've had dogs my whole life, and this is the first small one. My family were, both my sisters have got Jack Russells and smaller dogs, and I've always had big dogs.
Yep.
And when my last dog died, which was horrendous, it's the worst. It's actually the worst grief I've ever felt, and I've had parents die. You know what I mean? It was horrendous.
When you're close to an animal who's a companion and you come home to them every day and they want to see you, because kids don't want to fucking see you.
Yeah.
Or you come home and the dog just goes bang.
Yeah.
Then they get that taken away from you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I do think they come along at certain times. That dog was around when the kids were little, and he was really my companion when Alex was away a lot, and we just had this real soul connection, you know. This guy now is more like, fucking come on, I'm going to keep you moving, and we're going to have fun, and we're going to...
You need a pug.
He's great now. He's hilarious. I'm sure he has a sense of humour.
And he knows how to push your buttons and
if I don't take the edge off him every day with some form of exercise, then my life is shit. So I have to get out and do stuff with him.
Well, it's funny you say, and I know when I talked about it today, but the pug, my wife had a bad day at work that day and she was crying in the kitchen. And I'm like that, fuck.
Yeah.
Got to get involved here. And I've come over and started hugging her, and one of our daughters had the pug, and he started growling and snapping towards my wife. And I went, what the fuck's going on? Because she was really crying. He had a bad day.
Yeah.
And I'm hugging her, and I went, holy shit. And he was like, I thought, fuck, he wants to bite her. And Bailey, my daughter, brought him over and gave the dog to her, and he was me. So fuck off, I got this.
Aww.
And he was hugging her. He wanted to be to her.
Yeah.
He wanted me, you get away, that's not your job. So yeah, it's amazing the connection we have. So you basically, so that might be helping you with your menopause and your depression.
Oh, absolutely.
Your message might be get a dog. You know, you might go get a fucking
I
dog.
think everyone should have a dog.
Yeah, I'd say.
And they do. I mean, they've proved it. If you're really stressed and you sit down and you pat it, that's if you like a dog. If you don't like a dog, fuck, that's not going to work.
If you get a pit
but
bull.
if you just pat a dog, they do calm you down.
Yeah.
They're incredible. Yeah. So I would have 15 dogs, but Alex goes, cut it out. Like I'm always like, can we get a goat? What about a donkey?
I wouldn't want to go.
What about a pig?
I could do it. Yeah,
But
I'd eat
it's
a
very
pig.
hard when you travel.
I'd eat a pig. I wouldn't be able to get a pig. They come home one day and go, where'd the pig go?
Where's Wilbur?
Let's not talk about the pig. Okay, so we've talked about you wanting a goat and a pig and
I want all the things.
the chickens.
I want to be like Noah.
Noah's Ark. Have you
just
got
one.
property? You're on property in Mull?
Yeah, I've got 40 acres.
Well, there's no reason you can't have a pig.
Well, apparently there is. No, but look, I would love to have all the animals, but it is hard when you travel. I know you don't travel.
No.
But we travel a bit.
I'm too scared to travel. But yeah, you're a professional comedian, so you're all over the country and you're doing stuff like that. And
Yeah.
you're doing really well. You're doing big shows.
Yeah.
You got a few things coming up. And like I said earlier, you've worked with the biggest comedians in the game. So that's fantastic story coming from someone who didn't want to do comedy, wanted to write a book about having twins, realised that it was becoming a bit funny. You bumped Mandy, got involved, did her course, and now you mentioned you got Arch Barker and people like that.
Yes.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Like that for me as a person who's 3 or 4 years into comedy who wants to do this thing, and that's an inspiration for me is anyone can do it.
Yeah.
And I'm so keen to fucking do it. And you're living proof that you can do it. And now you're starting to deal with menopause, and you're dealing with a bit of anxiety at night time and stuff like that. And I'm going to give you a big greasy burger with 2 different animals on it. So chicken, bacon, pineapple, bit of my own homemade sauce that I make on here.
Let's eat all the animals.
Let's eat all of it. Like, yeah, I had a
I do
guy.
sometimes think about going.
Veggie?
Jared, the son, you know, of course, the Chopper Reed son, of course, he's a veggie, the Melbourne.
Is he? Well, I think you've got to be in it. Don't you have to be a vegetarian?
Oh, well, he became a veggie when he was about 15. It was a giant pain in the arse living with him, you know, because I had to cook special meals for him and stuff. But
Well, I think it's part of the whole stigma of being in Melbourne.
Oh, well, that was when he was still in
Oh,
Mull.
yeah, this is. Oh, that,
Look at
That
that.
was a mullet. Look at that. There is no raw chicken in there.
That is
You know what my biggest fear was today? Making Ellen sit on the toilet for 2 days. And I haven't done it.
Wouldn't be bad. It's good weight loss. I'm just going to eat this little bit of crispy
A
bacon.
bit of bacon. So we've got the bacon and the chicken and everything from A&B Butcher Shop in Main Street in Wollongbar. So thank you to them. Soul Breads, Byron Bay, for their sourdough buns. All the local produce from the Tweed Fruit Shop in the Main Street in Wollongbar. So everything's local. I think he buys it from Brisbane, but it's all bought from in town. It's all. I think he buys it in Brisbane.
Chicken's from China.
Chinese chicken.
But this guy.
But he brings it in from China. So yeah, well, let's not fucking bat, because last time someone had a bat, it fucked the whole world for a couple of years. So we don't want to do that. So like, I'd love you. I know as a lady you don't want to get it all over yourself, but I would love you to take a bite.
Yeah, let's go. Have you got a napkin? Give me your tea towel.
Tea towel.
Okay. Oh, this looks delicious. Okay, here we go.
Does it go together well?
That's a great burger.
Sensational. That's what it's all about. So the message for this show is to take your friend.
Is that ladies eat burgers?
Ladies eat burgers.
I'm going to have more.
You go.
Can I keep eating?
You eat. Okay, so while you're sitting there enjoying this, the message for this show is to take a friend, take your mate's mum, take whoever it is, go and have a feed, ask them how they're going, talk about them. You just seen Ellen there earlier. Talk about having menopause and developing anxiety, and then that's as simple as that. But you don't know who's struggling with something that's not, you know, they don't know what's going on. Matt doesn't know about dry vaginas anymore. Now he does. So we've brought that to your awareness.
You're welcome, Matt.
It's not being a fault.
Oh, it will become one. Not that you know of anyway, mate.
But that's as simple as this is. We're having a laugh, we're having a bit of fun, cook a quick burger, and the message is out there. Perfectly. Talk to a friend, talk to anyone, and just say, "Are you all right? Are you okay?"
And
the whole thing.
Stop treating mental illness like it's not an illness.
Yeah.
You know, like we were saying, you know, there's medication for everything else. and there's no stigma attached to it. It's an illness.
It's an illness. It is an illness, and like I said, I didn't know I had it. I'd never heard of it until things happen and stuff like that. So I don't recommend eating a greasy big burger every day of the week for mental health. It's probably not the best thing you can do, but it's a talking point. That's a whole aspect of this show, is to simply have a yarn and get the message out there. So I've been Buster Kirby. This is Ellen Briggs.
See ya.
She has a podcast. Sorry, your podcast.
Oh, my podcast.
You have a podcast.
Well, it's under the banner of Women Like Us, but
Yep.
this is a new one that I'm working on, and it is called On That Day. And I'm talking to people whose lives have just changed in the blink of an eye when something has happened to them. So I have somebody who was robbed at gunpoint. I have somebody who broke their neck playing rugby league. I have two really unfortunate families whose sons were killed. It could happen to any of us.
Is it up there on the platforms yet?
It'll be on Women Like Us.
Women Like Us. Okay. Well, thank you very much. I was going to say put your hands together. Put your hands together, boys.
Go on.
Well done. And thank you for coming on my show. I really
for having
appreciate
me.
it. Thank you
Thanks
so
for
much.
having me.
Thank you.